I'm generally a pretty serious person, but today I want to talk about fun. I believe fun is a virtue. If you want to serve a higher good, you're better off adopting a fun side to your identity. Imagine you're in a pub with a group of friends, some you know well, some you know less well. There's one girl who can be a bit of a joker, a bit silly. As a serious and mature person, you mostly dismissed her in the past, but today she does something you think is actually really cool. The pub has an app to order food and drinks by typing in your table number, paying on your phone, and waiting for the order to be brought out to you. Everyone knows you're meant to order for your own table, but this girl decides to use the app to buy food and drinks for other tables around the pub. Your whole group giggles like school children as you secretly watch how people react. At first they turn down the free bowls of chips and glasses of wine, but eventually they notice you and your friends sniggering and causing mischief. Once they catch on, everyone is in on the joke and people start to order food and drinks to your table too. The orders gradually become more elaborate and eventually your table is presented with giant ice cream sundaes and fishbowl cocktails. It ends up being one of the most enjoyable nights out you've ever had. Here's another scenario. Imagine you're some kind of businessman, stressed out, working overtime at home on a Saturday, trying to complete an important presentation. Every slide has to be just right, and the thing just isn't coming together. Your wife comes in and notices how much tension you're feeling. You take a break, she says. I'm actually a presentation expert. I'll do the work for you. She looks at your cue cards laid out on the desk and pretends to muddle the whole thing up. Welcome to my presentation. Today I will be starting with a conclusion, followed by the answer to a question. I will then be asking the question, and then at the end, I will do a short introduction. You both laugh, but then you realize that's actually quite good. With the narrative backwards, the presentation weirdly makes more sense. With this new structure, you finish planning the whole thing in 20 minutes and deliver an excellent presentation on the day. Credit to my wife, you announce at the end, for helping me with the structure. Turns out she's a presentation expert. Now imagine you're organizing a charity fundraising event. You could do something traditional like a bake sale or a raffle or a silent auction, but you know similar events have already been run recently and people are tired of the same old thing. You're discussing it with a friend, going through the options. Wouldn't it be funny, she said, if you did a silent auction on just different cakes? Imagine people bidding hundreds of pounds on a Victoria sponge. Then the perfect idea comes to you. A raffle with a twist. You package up identical boxes, each with one of two prizes, either an expensive luxury gift donated by a local business or a cake baked by one of your colleagues. You sell the mystery boxes at £100 each. You might get something worth more than what you paid for, or you might get a nice cake as a consolation prize. It's win-win, and all for charity, of course. Thalia is the muse of comedy. A muse is a kind of spiritual being appearing as a beautiful, inspirational woman. In Greek mythology, there are typically 9 muses, each in charge of a different realm of science and art. The 9 muses live on Mount Helicon, north of Athens, where they were worshipped by artists seeking inspiration. Thalia's identifying symbol is a comedic theatre mask, and in ancient Greek culture she functioned as the inspiration for works of art where a series of mistakes and blunders result in an ultimately positive outcome and a happy ending. In ancient Greek theatre, a comedy isn't just about having a laugh and forgetting about negativity. As well as jokes and slapstick and farce, comedies also contain narratives where errors, misunderstandings, and seemingly insurmountable obstacles are navigated with cleverness and insight. In this domain, fun is a very specific way of being that highlights our ability to solve problems, bond as a community, and break out of patterns when we're stuck in a rut. Thalia embodies this essence of fun and shows herself in all of these kinds of stories. Psychologists Peter McGraw and Caleb Warren have proposed a general theory of humor to explain what exactly makes a joke funny. In their model, 3 conditions must be met. 1, a violation. The situation must break some norm or expectation. You could do something socially unacceptable, playful with language, or logically incoherent. But you have to challenge the way people think the world should be, even if it's something simple like falling over instead of walking. 2, perceived benignity. The situation must appear benign or harmless. If someone falls over and really hurts themselves, that's not funny. If someone falls over and they're fine, then we laugh. There can be no negative outcome attached to the violation according to the person that thinks it's funny. And 3, subjective appraisal. Different people have different opinions on what is a violation and on what is benign. This means someone might find things funny that another person reads as a totally expected norm. Along with this, someone might find humour in a violation that another person believes is harmful, negative, and therefore unfunny. This framework for humour is the forerunner to my even more general theory of fun, which I simply call Thalia. Fun is upheld by 2 key pillars: the new and the unexpected, and the stability of the existing structure. If everything is new and unexpected, you cannot have fun because too much is changing and you're more likely to inspire fear and frustration. But if everything adheres to the existing stable structure, you still can't have fun because nothing changes and there is nothing to challenge and delight you, so you simply get bored. This not only explains why things are funny, but also explains why we particularly find enjoyment and pleasure in situations that break norms and introduce novelty without fully destroying the stability of the existing order. My 2 favourite examples of this come from Arnold Schwarzenegger and Mark Zuckerberg. One of Arnold's famous 6 rules of success is break some rules. He says it like this: "We have so many rules in life about everything. I say break the rules, not the law, but break the rules. It is impossible to be a maverick or a true original if you're too well behaved and don't want to break the rules. You have to think outside the box. That's what I believe. After all, what is the point on being on this earth if all you want to do is be liked by everyone and avoid trouble? The only way that I ever got any place was by breaking some of the rules. After all, I remember that after I was finished with my bodybuilding career, I wanted to get into acting and I want to be a star in films. You can imagine what agents said when I went to meet all of those agents. Everyone had the same line, that it can't be done. The rules are different here. But I didn't listen to those rules. Even though they were very nice and they said, look, we can get you some bit parts, we can get you to be playing a wrestler or a bouncer, or maybe with your German accent, we can get you to be a Nazi officer in Hogan's Heroes or something like that. But I didn't listen to all this. Those were their rules, not my rules. I was convinced I could do it if I worked as hard as I did in bodybuilding, 5 hours a day. Mark Zuckerberg famously had a company motto: move fast and break things. However, this motto changed as he realized that while constantly breaking things led to innovation, it also led to a lot of time spent fixing problems that could have been avoided. He says it like this: so move fast, I think, is interesting because you actually have to be willing to give something up to get it. And the question is, what are you willing to give up? And early on, the trade was move fast and break things. The idea was we will tolerate some amount of bugs and flaws in the service of moving faster and learning what our community wants faster. But we got to a point where it was taking us more time to go back and fix bugs and issues that we were creating than the speed we were gaining by going faster. So we're like, okay, we need a new strategy to enable us to move fast. And what we came up with was we're going to do this by building the best infrastructure. So an engineer who comes from any company is going to be able to ship their product faster here and test it better and move faster and all these things at Facebook than anywhere else in the world. So that's what we mean by move fast with stable infrastructure. But again, we don't get it for free. We invest a huge amount in building infrastructure. So I think these values always come down to what are you willing to give up to get something, because they're not free. Nothing is. There is always a balance to be managed between challenging and upholding norms. You know when you're getting that balance right because your body will spontaneously respond with delight, pleasure, laughter, and cheerfulness. This is what happens when we're having fun. Thalia is our spiritual example of someone who embodies and identifies as a fun person. A world with more Thalias, where fun is considered a virtue, is a world that continuously transforms for the better. Humor and playfulness are not just ways to make things funny, but tools for innovation, societal change, and personal growth. When communities get that balance right, breaking the rules without breaking the law, moving things forwards with stable infrastructure, introducing newness and upholding what already exists, we can work together in an open and playful way that doesn't lead to conflict, but laughter and joy. Thalia is a key character in my world-building project called Etherealis. Etherealis is a beautiful land of peace and abundance, organized into a confederation of 18 city-states, each overseen by their patrons, 9 inspiring women appearing as the muses of ancient Greek myth, and 9 heroic men appearing as the worthies of medieval chivalry. The patrons rule with justice and wisdom as a council meeting in a grand complex of civic buildings known as the Capitol. This huge collection of castles, cathedrals, palaces and gardens sits at the centre of Etherealis and is home to an elite class of specially trained stewards, universally revered for their exceptional intellect, physical prowess and emotional resilience. These volunteers dedicate themselves to serving their communities on behalf of the patrons, living purposefully according to their ancient motto, Vitalitas, Prosperitas, Agentia. Their hard work grants them access to a vast library of profound manuscripts and magical artifacts concealed deep in the labyrinthine structures of the capital. This library continuously grows as the stewards engage deeply in mysterious studies and experiments. Who knows what treasures could be hidden within those cloistered halls? In future posts, I will be talking more about the muses and the worthies and how they embody key virtues that we can take into the future. What could you do in your day to make things more fun? Comment below or send me a message. My handle is @GymnasionUK on YouTube, Twitter, Substack and Instagram. Like, subscribe, share, bookmark so you don't miss the next post. And take a look at gymnasion.net for free stuff to help with your health and fitness. See ya!